Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Post amazing week of energies and breakthroughs and new expansion energy coming in. I hope you guys are experiencing it. Loved reading all the post shares that I posted at the end of the week to see what you guys have been experiencing all week. I love all the comments and posts that are coming in on that, the replies. It was really a big week, and I feel amazing right now. I feel we are headed in such incredible directions, even though it's so interesting. We're moving into that new earth, that fifth dimensional perspective point, right? The world is literally turning to chaos around us. There is economic collapse happening. There is all kinds of craziness and chaos and headlines, just like always, but it seems to be ramping up. And here we are feeling expanded, like hopeful, can see the light at the end of the tunnel, can feel the vibration shifting because you are in that new vibrational perspective. So moving in with flow. I am coming on. You guys are realizing I'm a little bit early today. Usually the dragons are like, oh yeah, we're not ready. And we come in when we come in, maybe a few minutes after 11, around 11:11. And we're coming in early today because we're in flow. And my youngest came to me maybe 15 minutes ago and said, Mom, can we go out to breakfast to that place, which so-and-so? And we're on spring break for them. And we're having a staycation. So I said, yeah, let's do that. And so in flow, I'm ready. I'm excited about the topic we're discussing today, and everybody will find it that's supposed to find it for live, and others will catch the replay, which a lot do anyway, because of time difference and things where all our dragon families around the world. So I am thrilled beyond words with the question that came in last week in a post as a comment, or actually it was a post made. And I said right away, I'm going to tackle this on next week's live because it's a big subject. It is something that everyone is moving into realization of on a very deep, if not fully unconscious level. It's just coming into awareness, this level of perception. And I'm so excited to see you guys picking up on that, question it, feeling it in your field of contemplation, feeling it in the field of potential, and wanting to really know more. So let's dive into this. Beautiful experience this woman had in meditation with a dragon in deep earth, knew that it was a dragon rider connection, and an older person that was having illness troubles, healing that was healing the dragon was healing this person. And so they started looking at, well, what's the relationship here really? And so this question of dragon rider relationship, let's start there with, is the soul connection between rider and dragon such that they must both cross together, meaning cross the dimensional planes, going through physical death or whatever level of death is in the higher planes of existence, where say your dragon resides in inner or deep earth, or even in a higher octave, and you are the dragon rider here in this earth plane 3D. Everything that happens to you happens to them. Everything that happens to them happens to you. If they have a wing injury, you're going to feel it in your back. If you have a foot injury, they're going to feel that. If they are chained, you're going to feel that. So there's an absolute corollary. And why is that? Why is there that corollary? If you can comprehend a soul split like a twin flame, which is usually, most people have an idea of twin flame. It's a soul level splitting, like a cell splitting and dividing to create twins, right? In the physical earth plane biologically, where a cell splits and then twins start developing. Well, if you at the soul level have this ability to split and choose maybe a twin flame split where there's a masculine and feminine, and no matter what roles they take, they are linked at the core. They are two parts of the same soul. The dragon and the rider split is the same. And I've discussed this in a lot of my workshops and classes. So you guys are benefiting from, here's this question coming out. And I think I've done it on a live or two as well. That same split happens where, just like a twin flame, masculine and feminine, that tends to have a balancing effect. This has more of a mirror effect, where the choice is to split in this way of being a mirror and a completion of each other energetically, and yet everything mirrors. Everything that's happening with the dragon is happening with the rider, and vice versa. So in that situation, if there's a dragon rider split, and the interesting thing is that a dragon rider split doesn't have to come from the original soul fractal. This can happen down the line energetically, where maybe you have an incarnation off doing this in this star system, and here's an incarnation going off and experiencing being a dragon in this planet over here, and I'm going to be playing, here's a part of me over in some angelic realms, playing and exploring over in this octave over here. And then I decided, like, earth plane, I want to do something with that. And so this part of me is going to actually go towards earth plane, but I want to choose a dragon rider split. And there's many of you that have. And so that dragon and that rider may go into different octaves, or they may start in the same octave and then choose over time in different incarnational presentations in the timelines where they reside. So having, for example, the perfect one she gave, an aspect, dragon aspect in deep earth, a deep earth dragon. Deep earth, middle earth, all of the inner cities of light, they are literally different dimensional spheres within Earth's energetic bodies. And our little brain has a hard time really comprehending this. But if you imagined either like a flower of life expansion where they're all interconnected, or concentric spheres bubbling out, each one getting larger and larger, and yet this one can be within this one and this one can be within this one. It's very hard for this brain to conceptualize how the interdimensional spheres actually operate. So just knowing they exist within. So the deep earth actually had a physical presentation at some point, like Middle Earth did, like Avalon did, like the cities of light did, that Atlantis, Lemuria, they are still in existence on a higher octave plane. So where we sit in 3D is literally just a perception point in spheres or octaves or dimensions, however term that works for you, of existence. And so her question following that, well, first, do they both have to cross together? Well, yes. If one dies, the other will cross. So this one was, if the dragon, who is also really ill or not well in health, passes, will the body, the human, actually drift off in their sleep into death as well? Yes, it would. Usually it's the human aspect that is shorter lived, but depending on what's happening in these realms, it might be a soul level choice happening of pulling their energy back in and together to rejoin into completion point, because the ascension gateways are here. And if they have enough, I love the term blue starfire. That's what Magenta Pixie uses. If they have enough blue starfire forged, then they're ready to do that. And the deep earth dragon might have enough to balance what the human has acquired to actually allow them to move into that. And that might be why a dragon would initiate the choice point. So that said, yes, they will always cross together because they're perfectly linked. But I love where this question went beyond that. Is a dragon in deep earth considered to be living? So now I'm even questioning the basis for the assumed state of existence of dragons, as I'm thinking of them as spiritual beings, which begs the question, do I only think I'm more real because I'm a different vibration? Hitting the nail on the head. We have this perception because where we are, this is our reality. We believe this to be real. And when you actually move into that fifth dimensional perspective point and start to realize that matter is only existent because I perceive and believe it to be, and I'm choosing to focus on the solidity aspects, the minute, the 1% of it that's solid versus the 99% that is space between all the molecules. And as you guys know in my practices, we work on the spaces in between, on merging into our dragon through that, and our dragon through the spaces in between into us. And that's where we start to shift that perspective point as we move into the spaces in between. That inverts us into the fifth dimensional reality, which is equally as real, but it depends where you're standing. If I'm standing in seventh dimension, it's going to be a lot more real to me than your 3D. And I can see you playing in it and go, oh my goodness, what decisions are they making? What are you doing? We're trying to reconnect. Okay, so they can see from 7D what's happening in 3D around us and sort of look at it like a board game. How we would perceive a board game out in front of us, like it's flat, it's 2D, it's smaller. they would look at 3D and see all of the factors all at once and go, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? What, can't they see this over here and can't they put this together? And they sort of look at it as like, whoa, that is such a strange reality. How can that be real for them? And yet when we're in it, it's very real, right? So absolutely, your perspective point is what determines your reality. And the beauty in the ascension process is the remembrance of, it is our choice point of where we sit on that perspective shift line, let's call it. It's a slide line between here and there. And wow, where do I sit within it? And if I've been sitting in 3D working with all these dragons, because for me, they're very real. My life with these dragons they're my family. They're very real, even though they are energetic presentations to me, and they might be in very high octaves communicating with me. They are as real as Saint Germain and Yeshua and guides and guardians that are working with us, or angels, all the archangels. You know, your experiences with them are very real. So why do we stick with a perspective of, well, they're not real, they're just spiritual beings, they're just energetic beings because they don't have a body? That just means they haven't chosen to densify down to this level. Let the lid blow off of that top for you if that's a like, whoa, you're taking me by surprise here. And some of you on your gut level know this. Some of you are already talking like this. So allow that reality to come in of course they're all real. If God is real and God is in the highest dimension as a spiritual being, is a spiritual being not real? Of course they are. They're part of God. They're part of that stream of consciousness. They're part of an essence of being, of life force. And so what is your definition of reality? And I love this because it was probably last year sometime in my quantum flight class, new information was coming about the need to redefine, allow the definitions of our reality to actually shift. What you define as something needs to expand and broaden just like you do. So if you define a tree as, all right, it's got bark, it's got an inner bark, cadmium, it's got sort of like blood vessels that raise the sap through it, it's got branches, it's got leaves, and it grows in the sun, it's got a life force. All right, so there's my definition of a tree. Well, if I'm expanding into fifth dimensional quantum field reality or higher, and I start to expand and experience the energy body of that tree communicating with me, I'm allowing myself to change the definition of that tree to be a conscious living being that I can actually communicate with and interact with. I have an incredible over 80-foot tall redwood, or sequoia, in my front yard. His name is Rugario, and he's the guardian of this place, and it was partly because of him that I bought this property, because I could feel his presence and knew this is an anchor into that higher realm, that this property, and there's a vortex in the back where there was a dragon guardian. Talk about being drawn to your space. It unfolded as the anchor point to move into that higher perspective, to bring this entire neighborhood into that field of reality by opening the portal bigger and bigger and bigger here. It's reminding me even that I was shown and guided to get large chunks of crystal. That we have a place called Crystal Peak here outside of Reno. It's outside of Verdi, actually. That's 8-mile drive up dirt forest roads, and you can go up and you can collect quartz crystal. Find some really beautiful small points, but big chunks, and you're allowed to take a bucket full anytime you go. So I have big chunks in my garden. It makes my garden lush. I encourage you, put crystals in your plants, put them in your garden. It's amplifying the etheric energy around them. And I initially perceived, because of where my belief system was, that I was being asked to put crystals in each corner of this space that I work in, because this is the anchor within the house that is that expansion point. This is like the central core, even though it's not the center of the house. And in that, I have always thought, oh, I'm being asked now for some reason to put protection around this space. And it literally was almost 8 or 10 months later that it dawned on me, and my guide showed me that it's actually about amplification, because crystals, they do protect, but their true job is to amplify. So they are actually amplifying the energy of the space, which is partly why my reading space has been able to expand into such a big sphere around me, why the flow of information comes so easily when I'm in here. It's just an amazing thing. So moving into that larger reality, your definitions will change. Allow everything that you define in your reality, who you be, who your neighbors are, who your partner is, who your kids are. Expand the definitions. The table. What's beyond the table? What is its geometric structure underneath? What is its fifth dimensional? What does it look like in 5D? Allow yourself to dive into that as maybe some of your meditation points of, all right, I've got this around me. What does this feel like in 5D, even my meditation space? What does my meditation cushion or bench feel like in 5D? What does my chair feel like in 5D? Can I perceive its geometric structure? Because anything that's in matter has a fifth dimensional geometric, sacred geometric structure underlying it, within it, as its basis or its foundation. So I absolutely loved these questions. Do I only think I'm more real because I'm a different vibration? So hopefully you guys are following that of its perspective point. Your reality is determined by where you live, which is why some people talk about heaven and hell as actual, like, you're going to be dropped down after you die and you're going to be raised up after you die. And I have always strongly, firmly believed we actually are living heaven and hell right now based on what we draw to ourselves, our karmic balance, our output energetically, what we're bringing back to us. And I can look at this realm from very clear, like, I have so much more clarity on the world around me now. And I can see the vibrational fields that are considered like hell realm vibrations and where they exist, and the pockets of heaven. And they can be like walking amongst each other, just like those overlaid concentric circles in the earth. Right here and now, they are walking amongst each other. And when you expand yourself, you're going to start feeling even the higher dimensional beings walking amongst us. It's very crowded at times, but it is really about what your reality is absolutely 100% determined by your creation of it, your allowance of it, your dropping into and trusting it, your transparency with it. And when you're having lower vibrational days, which might be hard days, hell days, or experiences that drop you down, bring up hard emotions, look at it and realize I'm being gifted the opportunity to see where I'm still entrenched in or still have a tether to those pieces. And how do I pull myself out of that? So I'm going to go back. I did a snapshot and I can't even remember now who asked the question. I'm going to find that hopefully and thank them in the, or tag them in the comments, because I want to acknowledge, and I don't have the name. I did a screenshot of it so that I could read the question on my iPad here while doing the live, because I can't look at it on my screen. So when I saw it, I thought, oh, all right, I'm going to, rather than write this down, I'm going to just screenshot it, but it didn't screenshot the name because it was such a long post. So thank you for asking the question and for being here. I love my dragon family, and I look forward so much to these kind of discussions. And the best ones literally come when you guys ask something, because it's a tool for you guys. And my whole job here, my whole purpose is to bring the tools that you need to bring you forward in your ascension journey. And it's been my absolute joy and pleasure to be living that for the last 5 years with the dragons, and bringing those of you that have been called into the Way of the Dragon Heart path through either the original or the Quantum Flight version to really move into that. And each of you that are in this, even if you haven't done my programs or my workshops or anything, you're part of this community. And because of that, these tools are coming out to bring you forward into that as well, as are each of the times when I'm on a transference of energy, like an old, you used to call them downloads, now they operate differently, when you feel that coming through from my fullness of self. So I appreciate that. I'm grateful for you guys. Please send the questions in or post them. I see them usually as they need to be approved to go into the group. And so I have this heads up of like, oh, look at this post, and to make sure I don't miss it. So whew, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And at some point, be ready, because I might start being more in flow and breaking it up as to might not be on Tuesday. It might be Monday, it might be Thursday, it might be very much more inspired in the moment of when it feels right, and letting you guys move into, instead of a expectation or a knowing of when it's going to be every week, to be in your own flow of reception and know, wow, I see a link that she's coming on live. I have time to do that right now. Whereas maybe on Tuesday you didn't. And letting that be how we operate moving forward, we'll see. I'm going to let it really unfold, because all of us are being encouraged from our higher selves to move into that flow of heart desire, which is why we are about to go out to breakfast at 11:15 in the morning on our staycation. And I'm excited. I've got to figure out now what my body feels like eating. So have a great week, everybody. We will see you next time. Much love to y'all. And please send those questions. I love these discussions. I hope you enjoyed it too. Bye for now.